Hello everyone, do you know about the Myanmar military coup case? If not, watch this video till the end. A military coup is an act of overthrowing the government in power by a group of state military. This military coup in the land of the thousand pagodas is a dark history for Myanmar even today. It was noted that the coup was avoided. In contrast, historically, the Myanmar military or the Tatmadaw have often taken power since the first coup. The coup on 2 March 1962, led by General Nawin overthrew Minister Yunu. Furthermore, the second phase of the coup movement in Myanmar occurred in 1988, or commonly known as the XXX Rebellion or the People Power Uprising. Led by Michael Aung Twin and Maitri Aung Twin by General Nawin. The third phase marks a new chapter of the coup crisis that took place in Myanmar and continues into 2021. State Councillor Aung San Suu Kyi, President Mynmar, and several leaders from the ruling party were detained by the Myanmar military. The military has been maintained in Myanmar for the first 16 years, and the military remains a critical harder in taking power over the Myanmar government. The 2021 coup takes place after the general election on 8 November 2020, in which the National League for Democracy won 396 of the 476 parliamentary seats. Why do these conflicts often occur? Because in Myanmar military party wants to continue to exist and be in power, not wanting to be outdone by other political parties. Why did this case happen? In the first stage of the coup, this conflict occurred because they were deemed not to have the ability or capability to lead the country. Then, in the second stage of the coup, economic problems, coupled with suppressing the rebellion, required constant involvement in international markets. The second coup has its roots in 1985. It seems that the economic background was the reason for the massive demonstration in 1988. And the third phase of the Myanmar military coup in 2021 could happen due to fraud in the election of leaders in 2020. But there is no evidence from the electoral side of the claim, but more to the efforts of the Myanmar military who want to maintain their existence or influence. As a result of the existence of the Myanmar military coup roots Myanmar, namely the occurrence of a war called Civil War, because a year after the coup, the civilian government finally fought against the Myanmar military coup. In the end, there were many casualties from the war incident. Besides, the Myanmar also experienced cash crunch after the February 1st military coup was due to 1. The central bank, now run by a appointed junta, has yet to return some of the receipts it has to private banks. For no reason, people needing is in Myanmar. 2. Have to get up early and line up out to the bank since 4 o'clock. 3. The internet blackout made online transaction difficult and international transfer have large banks stop working. 4. UNDP said the last month Myanmar faced an economic collapse due to the combined effect of the new coronavirus and the coup. What is Indonesia's role in resolving the Myanmar military coup conflict case? In resolving the Myanmar military coup case, the DVRRA supports efforts to resolve the conflict in Myanmar faithfully through interparliamentary diplomacy. Conditions in Myanmar after the military coup created conflict and attracted international attention. Fadli said the forced takeover of the Myanmar government by the military was a setback for democracy in the land of the thousand pagodas. Indonesia plays a role as a protector of the region. ASEAN from Indonesian push to resolve the problem in Myanmar at the Indonesia-Malaysia bilateral meeting. Indonesia, as the initiator ALM, Indonesia as the guardian of stability, peace, and security in the ASEAN region, a manifestation of the principle of a free and active foreign policy. Indonesia also plays a role as a mediator integrator, as can be seen from the started diplomacy carried off by Indonesia to ASEAN member countries and mediation carried off through communication between the Myanmar military and the CRVH. What is the role of ASEAN in the Myanmar military coup conflict to promote Myanmar democracy? Efforts made by ASEAN to be able to resolve the case of the Myanmar military coup were emphasized by the Myanmar military junta. We were in charge to implement the 5 points of the ASEAN consensus. First, violence must stop immediately and all parties must restrain themselves. Second, immediately start a dialogue between all parties to find a peaceful solution in the interest of the people. 3. The special envoy of the chair of ASEAN will facilitate the mediation of the dialogue process, or ASEAN will provide humanitarian assistance. 5. Special envoys and delegation will visit Myanmar to meet all relevant parties. The 5 points are aimed by every ASEAN to be able to create peace for the country of Myanmar, especially to stop the case of the Myanmar military coup. How do we respond to this conflict case, and how do we think the Myanmar military coup conflict will be resolved? In the Myanmar military coup conflict, starting from 1962, the first conflict was the Myanmar military coup until the Myanmar military coup in 2021. We hope that this conflict will end and not be prolonged, which will result in many victims from the Myanmar military coup demonstrated. In this conflict, it is hoped that the Myanmar government will improve again and there will be no more conflict in Myanmar. In resolving the conflict, in your opinion as Indonesian citizen, we agree with Indonesian rule in playing a role in peace in Myanmar, which has led to a decline in democracy in Myanmar. We also hope that the Indonesian government for the Myanmar military coup can act as an integrated mediator. We can be seen from the started diplomacy carried out by Indonesian to ASEAN member countries, and the mediation carried out through communication between the Myanmar military and CRVH. We also hope that ASEAN, as an international organization, must be able to become a bridge in and out of ASEAN by trying to convince ASEAN dialogue partners and the international community to restore democracy in Myanmar. Bearing in mind that this conflict continues to prolong, it will be the people of Myanmar who will suffer.